Good evening, one and all. Well, good morning, good afternoon, depending on whereabouts in the world you are. I hope you're all well this evening. Well, we're up for one hell of an evening tonight. It's an admin-heavy evening. I'm not going to lie right off the top. We've got lots of things to sort out. But yeah, do let me know in the chat how you're getting on. I'd like to say a big, huge official welcome to YouTube. This is the first stream over on YouTube as well. So we've got, for you guys over on YouTube, we are dual streaming over on Twitch. For you guys on Twitch, we're dual streaming over on YouTube. Unfortunately, terms and services with Twitch says I'm not allowed to show other chats on the screen, and I don't want to risk it. Not that someone as small as I will be under the auspices of Twitch's bosses, but you know, no point in risking it. That does mean I'll have to be the go-between. So if you want to shout abuse and fight for why your side is better, do let know, and I'll make sure that the other side hears about it. Have a little bit of back and forth. So let's start off by saying some hellos. It's absolutely brilliant to see you guys. Sass lurking, lovely to see you. Robbie, Sai, great to have you in. NCK31, thank you very much for the follow, along with Spoonchi, Amin, RJ13 as well. We've got DM Bassist in, we've got Hank the Tank, we've got Timper40, we've got Dill40k, we've got Amin, who... Amin, are you now over on this one only, or are you going to be sifting between the two, the mediator between the two sides? Muro is in, good evening, sire. Crodmo is in, Wilco, FM got no game, Adam is in, Morton is in, Vangelis, Ladislav, lovely to see you all, Ryan as well. Amazing. I'm going to try and catch up with chat as soon as I possibly can, but let's also say the hellos to YouTube as well. We have, my word, there's so many already going. I'm already losing track. TTK, Nick is in. Good evening, guys. Got Alexandra. Great to see you. I see that you've managed to find where the vote is. The vote is now closed. I've totted up things just before the stream started so that we can do the reveal. Stefano is in all the way from Italy. I hope you're well, sir. David is in. JHK, Northman. Lovely to see you guys. I mean, I'm absolutely bowled over by how many people are here. This is incredible. Not so secret. Lovely to see you, Si. Yes, indeed. Rick's here. Fantastic. So many names that I recognise. It's amazing. Jonathan, lovely to see you here. Great little pun there. I'll see what I can muster up. Marek, Krugs, Andras. Lovely to see you all. This is absolutely incredible. Let's head in. And so, for those that aren't familiar with what we're doing yet, we've had a few options out there for the new save that we're going to be starting tonight. I put out polls on YouTube, on Twitch and Discord, and on Twitter. X is what it's called, isn't it? And that there are four options that we've got here. We've got something traditional, we've got something former glory, we've got in equal measure, and we've got proper retro. Went out and you guys have voted in a crazy amount of numbers. I think there was roughly 344 votes in total. And if I just do this now, I should be able to get the updated outcomes. And there we go. It was a landslide. We're heading to Finland this evening. More specifically, we're heading to the archipelago known as the Åland Islands. It's an autonomous region of Finland. It's actually kind of closer to Sweden, but on the main island and in Mariehamn, where we're going to be, they actually speak Swedish rather than Finnish. So it should be quite interesting. Maybe we can involve that into the save. But the plan is going to be that tonight we're going to try our best to pull everything together that we need to do at the start of a save. We need to come up with a backstory, and I really, really hope you guys can get involved in how we try and set our guidelines for what's going to happen on this career. We need to assess the squad. We need to talk about how we're going to set up as well, what leagues we're going to load, how we address the detail level, and how that's going to inform what we do in terms of our scouting later down the line with our data-led approach. In fact, you don't need to see my face. We have a to-do list. So we just in the couple of moments before we went live, it was clear that Finland was going to be the winner. So hidden in the background there is the the IFK Mariehamn Stadium, and most of it is hidden behind the to-do list. So this is what we're going to be doing tonight. We're going to create a manager backstory, we're going to set up the leagues, we're going to assess the squad and identify guiding principles, and then there's the most important part of all. We're going to work out which players have the best names to fit into pun-based songs, because the life and soul of a good save is stupid songs. We're then going to probably look to put together an initial tactic, and if we're lucky, we might even press continue before the night is out. It's quite a lot to get on with there. So just to say thank you for the follows, by the way, guys. So I think Ashton, Matt, Injectia, Felson, thank you so much. I do apologise that I am going to be a little bit behind with chat and all these things. I will try and get to you guys as much as I possibly can. So let's set things up. We have a special Mariehamn colour scheme set up as well. I don't know how good it's going to be, so we'll see once we get into the game, and if it looks like it's decent, I'll send out a link in the next couple of days as well to make sure that it's available for anyone that wants to use it. Yigi Toku. I do apologise for butchering your name. Thank you so much for the follow. So we've probably got to start now before we deal with the backstory. Is we need to talk about what leagues we're going to load, and I think I might have actually been prepared. I am prepared indeed. There's a rarity. Let's see if I can pop across here. Let's see if this will work. Stream browser. Yes! There we go. Welcome to the map of the Finnish diaspora. So a huge part of what we want to do when we're looking at a league like Finland, which is a little bit smaller as far as the European leagues go, they're not going to be poaching the best players from the big leagues. So we want to try and find countries that have a relationship with Finland. And here is a map of the diaspora of Finnish people around the world. In black here we have Finland. Funny enough, they have quite a lot of Finnish people in Finland. And then the countries in dark blue have over 100,000 Finns in them. So their leagues we're definitely going to be loading up if they're available. And we're going to be putting on full detail. So that looks to me like we've got Russia, we've got Sweden, we've got Canada, and we've got the USA. After that, countries with over 10,000 Finns in them, we'll also probably have on full detail. So we're going to have, is that part of Norway? Am I really that bad? I'm not very good at geography, so I do apologise. Do update me. I've got a cursor up here right at the top there. I assume that's part of Norway, but I may be wrong. So Norway, the United Kingdom, Germany, Spain, and Australia are going to probably be the other countries that we're going to focus on in terms of a full detail. And then we'll got pretty much the rest of Europe are going to be the other leagues we load, but we won't have them on detail at all. So we don't want to bog everything down with too much processing need and slow things down. So that should be good. We do have some presence in Africa as well. Oh my word, thank you so much for the gift subs, Adam, you absolute gentleman. So we're using the vanilla database. So South Africa will be loaded. We don't have all these countries, just need to be aware. So just to give a shout out again to Adam, amazing. It's a gift with tier 1 sub to Megasting 1981, a sub to Jamie MCA 44, a sub to the wonderful Mhad 33, to Root 1, and to Wilco 188 FM. You are an absolute star. So that's what we're going to do in terms of setup. So I am going to probably be relying on you guys a little bit to remind me on what countries we've said there as we pop back, and let's get this sorted now. So where is Finland? Finland is obviously the most important country that we've got there. We need to have Norway, we need to have Sweden, we need to have Spain, we need Australia, we need USA and Canada, we needed South Africa. We basically said pretty much everywhere in Europe. There were a couple My word, thank you so much, Great Nobo, for the subscription as well. You are amazing. Yeah, so we're just going to go through, and there are a lot of countries here. It's going to have quite a bit of a demand on here. You're going to see that the game speed is down really, really low to begin with. Estimated game speed down at 1. Even on a small database, it's 117,000 players. And we're going to push that up to large. So like what we said with the not full detail, we're not going to be looking to hop leagues aggressively. So we don't need to have them as playable for all those other countries that we've mentioned. So we're going to just move them down to view only as and where possible, with the exception of those major leagues that we mentioned. Right, Denmark. Denmark wasn't one of them, surprisingly, was it? Sorry, I just need to tab between. Yeah, Denmark does not have much of a finished diaspora, apparently, which is shocking. It's not something that I expected. Neither does France. There we go. So I'm sure we've missed stuff. Iceland surely does. I feel like I just didn't notice that Iceland were on the map. Electricity, Italy, Latvia. I don't even know what league that is. What league is the Sports Direct Premiership only? You can tell that I'm so knowledgeable with my geography here, hey guys. We want to make sure that Norway is playable. Russia will be playable. Romania won't be. Scotland will be. We did say that UK does. I'm surprised that Estonia wasn't more... I suppose Estonia is quite a small country and it was dealing with raw numbers rather than, say, a proportion of the population, which would kind of make sense. Spain is one of them. Sweden is one of them. Switzerland wasn't. Turkey wasn't. USA is. Ukraine isn't. Wales isn't. So that kind of brings us down. It's going to be a database of around 70,000 players, which is a pretty good number. And we will then be putting some of these leagues on full detail once we get there. So yeah, let's do that. Will we disable first window? We will disable the first window. So for those that don't know, early pre-season, Finland is a summer league, so it starts in the early part of the year. It has literally just ended in real life. I think it was the 19th of October. And Mariehamn narrowly avoided relegation. So we'll start with the squad that they went through this season with, and we'll see how things go. So whilst that's going, I'll try and catch up a little bit on chat here. So I do apologise if you have been chatting away. I am going to miss a number of comments here. There's lots of people that I want to try and respond to you all as much as I can, but I might struggle a little bit in that respect. So I do apologise if that's the case. So a big hello to Joe. Christopher from Sweden. You might be a big friend for me here tonight, Christopher. We've got... I know that Mariehamn are in Finland, but we're going to be going for a big Swedish feel to this, I believe. And we've got Valid from Algeria as well. Yasser Bal, happy with the choice, fantastic. Tarek wants us to build the nation. That might be so. In terms of like proper long-term goals, I'm not planning on majorly setting anything. Let's see how everything goes. It may well be that we build the nation. It may be that we don't. It may be that it turns into a journeyman, but we spend like 3 or 4 years building up Mariehamn, and something comes up that's really interesting narratively. We will let the game set the agenda. We will let the narrative emerge as naturally as it possibly can. When can one find an invite to your Discord server? It should be in the description for this, is it not? Let me have a look here. You can indeed, yes. Yes, the invite is in the Discord, in the description for this, Alexandra. If you haven't found it already, I appreciate I might be a little bit behind. Relael, good evening, sir. Thank you very much, one, for the follow on Twitch and for being in YouTube. Lovely to see you here, sir. And Reggae Boy, lovely to see you as well. No mods or databases. No, so Campurinus, firstly, good evening. Thank you very much. I tend to try and keep things as vanilla as possible because I think it's just a more universal experience. There will be certain videos where I do because it's needed for for the challenge or whatever the specific scenario is. But yeah, we will try and keep things as vanilla as possible all the way through. So let me catch up a little bit here on Twitch as well. It's still chugging away, loading in the league there. So good evening. Yeah, Coach Vangelis, lovely to see you here, my Brazilian. Good evening, and thank you for the hype earlier over on YouTube as well. No, you can dead name that site the same way that Elon does to his kid. Totally acceptable. Fabulous. As an American, this is the first vote in a few weeks that I'm happy with. Yeah, no comment. I'm sorry to that. Good evening, RJ. How are you, sire? Scrap that last one off the list. Overrated. There's a very good chance that we might not click continue at any point. So I started playing with the skin a couple of months ago. Can't go back to see the numbers anymore. Neither can I. We have a couple of little games to break up the stream during the course of the evening, one of which does actually involve attributes, and it feels really weird to me. Matto, good evening, by the way. So the team will be IFK Mariehamn, and we're now at the stage where we need to create a profile. Now, I really want to open this up to you guys as much as possible. Is there anything that you particularly want to see? Do you want us to be... Should we be Finnish? Should we be someone coming from outside? Should we be Swedish, potentially? It appears that they need a beanie. That's the most important thing. Alternatively, in fact, we can skip over here. One thing that I do tend to do quite a bit, let me go back to the browser here. We've got the... let's talk a little bit. Sorry, I'm all over the place, aren't I? Let's talk a little bit about IFK Mariehamn. So they're a Finnish football club that were founded in 1919, as you can see on their logo, but they didn't actually join the Finnish leagues until 1945, and they've spent the majority of their history in the lower divisions. It was 2005, I think, yeah, here we go, Finnish football in the Veikkausliiga for the 2005 season. So 2005 was the first time they reached all the way up to the top league. And then 11 years later, 2016, they won the division for the first time. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Brilliant. Since that point, it's all been downhill. I think like the next season, they finished around like 5th or 6th, and then it's been lingering around 10th every season since. It's a 12-team league, by the way. So it should probably be worth pointing out that 10th is a very, very bad finish. Oh, okay, bear me one moment. Are we still here? I've got chat saying that it's... there we go. Cool. Apologies. My lovely little chat bot seemed to be disconnecting. I was worried that we dropped out for a second then. So there are some notable former players. So we could perhaps key in on that. Former Liverpool youngster, Daniel Sherland, didn't just spend his career there. He is actually in the game currently as the assistant manager. He was born in Åland, so he's a proper local lad, which is absolutely, could be a nice twist. We could go for something around the idea of creating our character based around Daniel Sherland. But by the way, Mhad, thank you so much for the gifted sub. And it's gone to the wonderful, wonderful Shaughnessy. How are you this evening, Shaughnessy? So that's an option. As a Villa fan, there is one other player that I know has played for Mariehamn, and that is the regrettably calamitous Peter Enkelman. Peter Enkelman was with Villa for many, many years, and his career pretty much hit an end with us the moment that he let a throw in under his foot and conceded an own goal. He will always live in infamy amongst the Villa faithful. But he is Finnish. He played for IFK Mariehamn, and he's not in the game as a member of staff, I don't believe. So could be an option that we could do something there. Or we could create someone completely unique. As we said, we've mentioned needs to have a beanie, which I'm on board for. Jari Litmanen. Now there's a shout. Should we create a Jari Litmanen alike? One of the most incredible players. Like there's got to be no argument. He is Finland's greatest player, surely. Thank you so much for the subscription, Dill. absolute gentleman. And thank you for the follow, Gabite FM. So yeah, I'm liking the sound of Shall We Be Jari Litmanen. Oh, Kimi Räikkönen's little brother. That's an idea. Do we have any suggestions? Okay, make the manager the long-lost brother of Sami Hyypiä. We've got a number of... I think it's fair to say that we want someone with a connection, a former manager, a former player. Did I just see somebody mention Mika Aratalo? Mika Aratalo is an incredible shout. I think I like that. Let's go for Mika Aratalo. In fact, what I'll do is I'll pop out a poll. So I do have to apologise. This is where there will be some discrepancy between the Twitch stream and the YouTube stream. I'm able to do polls on Twitch, so I'm going to pop some polls over there. I will try and I will mention all the people we can mention, and if you can spam it in the chat on YouTube, that'd be brilliant. I will try and keep track as much as I can. So who shall we be? Let's go. We've got Peter Enkelman will go in there for his connection to Mariehamn. Mika Aratalo, that I love that shout as a Villa fan. Sami Hyypiä, brother. And there's been a couple of mentions of Kimi Räikkönen as well, so let's pop those in. I was going to run that poll now for a couple of minutes. So do get your votes in, and let me pop on over here. I didn't include Jari Litmanen. I'm an idiot. So we're going to Jari Litmanen is off the table. Right, I'll just pop this in the chat for you over on YouTube. Mika Aratalo, Kimi Räikkönen's sibling, Peter Enkelman, or Sami Hyypiä sibling. So yeah, if you can spam the chat over on YouTube as to who you want us to be, we can then go and start setting about creating our new manager profile, which would be cool. I do see a couple of other things that come in. The idea of a love child between Kimi Räikkönen and Ulrika Jonsson, that has that Finnish and Swedish mixed together. I love the idea of that. Heavy metal Finnish rally driver, indeed. Aratalo is also from near of Mariehamn. Is he now? Is he an Orlander? Let me have a look now. Mika Aratalo, for those of you who don't know, he was a former championship manager wonder kid. He never quite made it, unfortunately. I mean, I say he never made it. He had a pretty successful spell in Finland with TPS Turku, which was the team that he came through the youth ranks originally. Which isn't too bad. I think that earned him a move to Germany for a brief time. And let's have a look here. He was born in Tavasalo. I don't know anything about Tavasalo. Oh, right, so it's the mainland. It's the mainland part of Finland, but right down near where Let me swap that over again. Let's pop here. So here's from this lovely bit down here. And this is the archipelago. This is Åland Islands there. So that's a good shout there. Right, let's have a look at the results here. We have 7 for Aratalo over on Twitch. 3 for Räikkönen, 1 for Enkelman, 0 for Hyypiä. And let's see what we got going over on YouTube here. We've got another one for Enkelman. We've got Magnus for Magnusson, the world's strongest man. We've got a vote for Litmanen and we've got a vote for Glenn Kamara. Glenn Kamara would be amazing, but as he's still an active player, we probably can't be him as the manager. So let's go and have a look at Mika Aratalo. Can we get a good picture of Mika Aratalo? If we can do a face scan, that would be nice and easy. We need him face on. There, that's him face on. That is a scary, scary looking man. I love it. That should be enough. And we just want to know his details a little bit so we can add them in. 25th of July, 1985. The gentleman is only a couple of months younger than me. I like the sound of that too. So what was that name of that place he was born? It's Tavasalo. I am not going to remember how to spell that. And it's not an option on here. So Timper, if I'm calling out for you, I need your help. What cities are near Tavasalo? See if we can find one to put down as a place of birth here in their profile. I'll do that. I'll just fill in the other details. 25th of July, 1985. A fine year to be born. Here's Mal, he's there. We've got that. Right, let's pop back to this Tavasalo thing. That map doesn't have anything, but if I can do that search, we can pop to maps. Here's a municipality. Oh, there are lots and lots of words that I definitely won't be able to read. I should have probably apologized a lot earlier in the stream, because my pronunciation throughout this evening and the rest of this save is going to be horrendous. Turku is nearby, so Turku will be where we opt for. That is something I can recognise, and that could do close enough. So he was a big boy, was Aratalo. Let's have a look here. 6'1", and as we've established many times over on YouTube, I do like me a big boy, and he was quite pale. So we'll pop that down there, and let's see how things go with the face scan. Some proper Legolas going hair there, absolutely glorious. This man, it's such a shame it never quite worked out for him in real life. I said, still a professional career, spent time out in Germany. There are many, ironically, if the Champs 0304 option had been selected, there's a good chance that we would have signed Mika Aratalo. He does tend to be that good. That again a little bit. Yeah, the local footballer could be cool. That own goal should never have counted. You don't need to convince me. So there we go. That's what they reckon Mika Aratalo looks like. My word, that is a scary sight. But if that's what it's come up with, we'll go with it. And what's the longest, most flowing locks we can get for him? It's probably going to be that one, unfortunately. They don't really do long hair particularly well. So, right, this is completely unrelated. Well, it's not completely unrelated. I was looking through the credits a few weeks back, and this face gen stuff isn't SI proprietary software. This is made by a third-party company whose only business is this face scan technology. These models, that's their whole business. Now, there's a little bit of me that's shocked that people have therefore then gone and paid them for it. But also a little bit reassuring that this hasn't been something that's been developed by SI themselves. Because my word, it is something, isn't it? And Aratalo, he had that 1,000-yard stare in that picture, so I feel like he'd be a full kit wanker. He's going to be a proper. Let's get this. Yeah, trousers, proper black shirt, black suit, white shirt, and we'll just give his tie a nice light green colour. So, oh no, that's the shirt. That's the tie. So, confusingly, we saw IFK Mariehamn's logo earlier. Their kit colours are white and green. I'm not quite sure why that is, but that is the case. So there we go. We need to remove the hearing aid. And we'll remove all accessories, and we should be ready to go. Head over to Finland. IFK Mariehamn. So the first thing I want to do before we check it is see how long there is between when we start and the first game. The first game Oh, it's cups up first. We can fit in a squad friendly to assess players. So that's okay. And managerial star. So we've got it on suggested professional footballer. And I think that Aratalo looked like he's quite a mean bastard. So if we pop him down on the disciplinarian side of things, and let's just run with that. There we go. We finally got into the game at least. And yeah, I will now properly catch up on chat a bit here. So he might be in as a staff member though, but Aratalo is one of my old FM must signs. Absolutely, DMB. Shrew, you mentioned Anthony Amy, a great shout there. Super Greek, of course. We should have had a callback to the AC Moneyball series. RJ also knows Hannu Tianen because he played for my favourite club, Anderlecht. Another great Finnish player there. So got a support man. Nice to see you kicking off with the streams. Very well, sir. Bless you. You are a gentleman. Now, I do apologise. It's taken me so long to respond to. Enkelman and Mustermann sound somewhat alike. I see where you're going there. So go there. Look at that hair. He could definitely puff. Oh, we forgot to check the hats. Oh, we can edit that, can't we? So that's fine. He's also a bit younger than me. Average Finnish facial expression. He's 21 years older than me. Stop it, Ryan. I mean, I love you. I appreciate the support that you've brought into these streams, but anyone who is still in their teens, I would assume on that basis, is an offensive even idea to me. Oh, it's literally been 20 years since I was in my teens. Alejandra, come to India. We have the best food and we're the cleanest country in the world. Much hate. Lovely to see you in here, Alejandra. I have been to India. Company I work for, based in, have the development team based in Mumbai. So I've been out a few times. Turku is probably the closest city. Yep, that was indeed the case. Let's see there. He's been a Turku citizen all of his career. Fair enough. There we go. The years of heroin addiction have really taken their toll. Indeed. And let's catch up a little bit on the YouTube side of things as well. So I do apologise, guys, that I am a little bit behind there. And I will have to skip out on some of the messages to try and catch up. So we had those votes come in. Lippman and Glenn Kamara is where we got up to. Anthony Amy from Cormac. Lovely to see you in here, Cormac. Name him Finland backwards. That was an idea. Sorry. Make him 4'6", Scandinavia's smallest man. Mikko Aratalo is a beast. We've got a beast instead, and it's nice as I mean, technically 5'9", I think, is the UK average. But I get to vicariously imagine what it's like to be a tall man for a brief period of time. As a man of long hair myself, it hurts there are no real long haircuts for men in FM. Indeed, likewise. And Tanner, good evening, sire. Lovely to see you. How are you? From the side of the face scan, looks a bit like Mole from Wind in the Willows. But so that face scan is horrendous. I'm not going to knock that whatsoever. But that actually doesn't look. His facial expression they've caught it pretty well from that photo. It's just evidently it struggled to handle the shadows in the photo and made him a little bit more gaunt. So Muro Ducani, oof, company owned by a board member's nephew or something. So I looked into this. I don't think so. The FaceGen company are based in Canada. None of the names listed with the companies they're registered with match any of the names, any like the surnames based with Football Manager staff. So I did some digging because I was like, there has to be some form of nepotism in there. But no, appears not. Just a really, really bad company. Bless them. I'm an adult. I can legally drink. Just about, Ryan. Eyebrows have been raised. Looks to Gen. Where are the eyebrows? Indeed, bless him. Evening Root, how are you, sir? Voldemort with the hair. Yeah, that's fair. Poor fella. If Mikko Aratalo ever stumbles upon this stream, I feel very, very bad for him. Look, man, I love you. I longed for years for you to be a star, purely based off Champs 0304. So let's catch up. Looks like he was in a Train Spotting movie. Absolutely. All good. Happy to catch a stream to play in the background while I work. I'm good, Tanner. I'm good. I'm a little bit ill still, but we are unofficially sponsored by off-brand lozenges and unnamed eucalyptus goo. And that's doing its work to keep the throat wet and the sinuses clear. There's a minimum age to drink. Legally, there's a minimum age to drink. Of course, we all drank before that. Mika hates Graham Potter. Not sure why. Interesting. So, yeah. Eyebrows, non-existent eyebrows have been raised. An inexperienced 38-year-old replaces Bruno Ramau. And so, I mean, the history, this kind of stuff that we've already gone over a little bit there. They had a brief bit of spell in 2016 when they won the league. They also finished in runners-up in the third tier in 1976 and 2003. Big times. We have a reasonable 10,000, well, €9,500 wage budget, and obviously we disabled the transfer budget anyway, so that doesn't sound too bad. I think we might be able to work with that. It looks here. That bodes well, doesn't it? That bodes well. When the best 11 can't even name a striker, the transfer window is closed. This could be an interesting start there. Reitinen, that's a good strong name. I quite like the name Reitinen there. Dahlstrom sounds like a good name as well. We'll look at the players a little bit later. And Olawale. Oh, Reed. Is that Jaden Reed, the former Birmingham player? It is. How about that? Yeah, so we need to sign players based in Sweden. That's exactly what we wanted to do, which is marvellous. Otherwise, nothing particularly crazy there. Grow reputation, work within the wage budget. Avoid relegation this season. Establish the following season. Those sound like things that we can potentially go on and do. And our supporters just want us to make progress. Nice and woolly there. So we are going to have the intra-squad friendly. It's not something I usually do, but let's do that. And here we go. We finally hit save. So where are we at right now? We're cool. It's there. We should be good. Let me remember to take a drink. Thanks for reviving my hunger for FM. I take no credit in that at all, but I'm glad to hear that you're enjoying it once again. Manager looks like Robin Trans Percy. Oof, reggae boy. I mean, that's a pretty good joke. That's a pretty good pun. I've got to give it to you there. So is your Nemesis coach going to be Graham Potter? Yes, it quite possibly is. We're going to do better than him. That's the idea. So strikerless tactic, it does look like it's going to be the way. If you want to see Voldemort with hair, search for Magnus Wolf Ekram. Now that is another legend of... Oh, which FM was it that Ekram was an absolute star? So let's have a look here. We've got... Oh, I see what you mean. Let's get a photo up here. I'll switch you guys over. Here's the browser. Magnus Wolf Ekram. So for you guys over on YouTube, the Claire's very kindly pointed out that Magnus Wolf Ekram has a certain Voldemort with hair quality, and I think it's safe to say we can agree with that there. Right. So let us see your hair. Nope, it's been in a hat all day, so it's going to be very much hat hair. Sorry to lose that out on you. So which skin color theme are we featuring on this one, Musterman? So just in the few moments before the stream was done, I tallied it up, and these are Mariehamm's colors. So it's a green and white color theme, specifically tailored into the club. So there we go. Now, who's going to help me pronounce this then? I'm literally Idrots Forningen Camera Turner Mariehamn. That's what we'll go with. We'll go with that then. Eesh. All love from Reggae Bite. I assumed that. I was groaning because it was a bad pun, but it's an excellent pun. We have no captain. We have no vice captain, but Dahlstrom is a key player, so that looks good there. We play in white or we play in green. or we play in white, which is something at all. And there's Daniel Sherland. He's the assistant manager here, so it's good that we didn't choose him to be the character, because that would have been very, very confusing. So let's have a look at the squad then now. We do have strikers. It probably doesn't bode well that they weren't good enough to be mentioned. So I expect a lot of you guys in here tonight are familiar with the attributeless approach that I take. So I probably don't need to explain it to you, but I will just in case. So I play semi-attributeless. This is the Mustermann iconic skin, the skin that I've been making for the last 3 years or so, but only the last 2 years have been attributeless. And the way this works is that we still get a vague idea of their attributes. We have these little dots on the screen that indicate a range. Down here, these really small, very dark green dots are low. That means that the attribute falls between the range of 1 and 5. These slightly larger and slightly lighter dots are average, which is 6 to 10. These nice, almost pastely green is 11 to 15. And then we have excellent, which is a nice big white dot, which is 16 to 20. And I imagine there's a very, very good chance that we won't have any players that are excellent at anything. If you have any quibbles about the terms that are used there, these are the ones that are defined in-game when you go to change attribute colors via preferences. So what you will see here is a screen that isn't actually, it doesn't appear this way in the actual skin that's publicly released. This has been adapted so that I have it for the resolution that we have our streaming at, and I can have all the information specifically for this size. So we don't have to, at the beginning of the season, see the pizza chart when there's no information in it to populate. So Mark Nordqvist here, he is an under-20s coach as well as our goalkeeper. He doesn't look to be particularly good, and maybe the fact that he's a coach suggests that he's not meant to be our starter there. Decent composure, decent handling. Nothing else really stands out. I like my keepers to have agility if possible, and so that's a big knock there, but I'd best not get too far ahead because we don't know what else we've got. Doesn't like big matches, but is consistent, so that's something. The other keeper is Matthias Räikkönen. There we go, we've got our Räikkönen already. How about that? He looks better to me there, so we've got good agility. That's my number one. Good at reflexes and rushing out, good handling, communication, positioning. Like, sure, I'd like somebody who's got better decision making. Sure, I'd like someone who's better one-on-ones, maybe even able to pass a little bit, but we're not going to get that in Finland. Let's be fair. So Räikkönen, he looks like a good bet. I'm quite a fan of that there. Somebody said, Johnny Trotter, by the way, good evening, sir, how are you? Dahlstrom looks like Rafa Nadal. Shall we just... Oh, I can see it. I mean, the main thing I see when I look at Dahlstrom is that he doesn't look like a footballer. He kind of looks like a children's TV presenter. But that might just be me there. But we'll look at him properly in a little bit more detail soon. So Rob over on YouTube, do you work in tech? I work within a development team, but it's a retail company. Yes, I'm a business analyst. I'm not a developer myself, but I work in close proximity with stakeholders, both internal and external, and then with the development and the product teams to ensure that we deliver software updates and changes and new products. So Willie Nunez, he has to start. Okay, so people have noticed we have a player called Willie. Willie, that is a thing. We'll look at him properly. It looks like he might be good enough to start, you know, but yes, need to get our Willie out. I think we found our first player who might become a hero over here. Clate's doing a Moneyball save with your skin means you've made it. Yes, in many ways it does. In many ways it does. let's have a look there. I've just noticed that Nordqvist is only 26, but is already under 20 games. Yeah, indeed. Idrottsföreningen. So let's go back to Muro Decane is coming big with the pronunciation guide. So we're going to try this again. We have Idrottsföreningen, Idrottsföreningen, Kumratena, Mariehamn. Yeah, something like that would do it. Cool. That's so much better in my opinion. I no longer try to decide between a 13 and 14. Yeah, okay. Mr. Tumble. There's a shout. There's a shout. Maybe Dahlstrom works on the Finnish program. Bloop Eater. Bloop Eater. I see what you did there. It took me a couple of goes there. Oh my. Oh my. I dread to think what the song is going to be for Willie Numes. There is definitely going to be a song for Willie, isn't there? Okay, now I'm going to sound old. So, for clarity, this song was released long before I was born. But there was a band, a glam rock band called The Sweet, and they have a song called Little Willie, where the chorus is, Little Willie Willie won't go home, because you can't put Willie where Willie don't go. Try telling everybody you don't know, Little Willie Willie won't go home. And I have a feeling we might end up with something along those lines. By the way, good evening, Nemo Toad. How are you this fine evening? Feels inappropriate to be talking about a 16-year-old Willie. It is. It is. Thank you for reminding me, Ryan. Right, so in defence, we have Patrick Raitanen. So we have a Riikonen and we have a Raitanen. Raitanen's got a decent physical profile. Good and everything there, which is cool. He can tackle, he can head, he's brave, he can mark. Positioning and... okay. We're not expecting perfect players at this level. There's a lot here that we can work with. He's 6'2". He can do the aerial stuff. He's centre back. He can play out on the right. I think we've got a good player there in Raitanen. He isn't particularly consistent, but at 22 you can't expect that. So yes, he has forgotten to bleach his goatee, but you know it does help him stand out a little bit. It's a sad day you have to explain The Sweet to people. I know, Crabmo. I can't assume that people will be familiar with The Sweet, and certainly not some of their more obscure songs, let's be fair. 2008 Willie is insane, bro. 2000, that makes me feel uncomfortable. JHK Vez comes through. He should be alright. Raitanen does look like he will be alright. Very nicely done, sire. Right. Nice physicals for Raitanen, absolutely indeed. Blockbuster is a great song. Who were Pedro Mercado there. So we have a 27-year-old Portuguese. He also looks pretty good. Oh, okay. That's nice. We've got someone who's got aggression. Oh, Magpie Tristan, thank you so much for the sub. Absolutely appreciated. You are an absolute gentleman. So yes, the Pedro Mercado, he's got the aggression that Raitanen is otherwise missing, so it looks like we could have a potential partnership there. Another good all-round physical profile. He can pass the ball as well, so maybe at this level we've got someone who can be a bit of a ball-playing defender. Good decision-making, good anticipation. I like the look of Mercado, and he's consistent. Yuri Nissanen. Here we go then. So this is a right back or left back. Again, looks... He's definitely more of a defence. That's okay. That's interesting. So they've described him as a wing back as his preferred role there, which is fine, but he's not particularly good at anything going forwards. So my initial impression is we've got a player who'd be quite good maybe staying back or inverting and dropping. No, I don't want him inverting into midfield. He very much feels like an inverted fullback to me. But yeah, decent physicals. He can tackle. He's aggressive. Yeah, looks to be reasonably solid. Matti Alvanen. Okay, so what we've got here, he's a left footer. That's our first left footed player I can see so far. Looks like an AI picture on Mercado. we do get that a little bit with the slightly more obscure leagues. I mean, the guys who go out there and do the face packs do an absolutely incredible job, because finding pictures of some of these less well-known players can be an absolute nightmare. I did a save in South Africa at the beginning of FM23, and the face packs were amazing, because you'd have like pictures that were clearly like from when they were at school. They'd be in like coats, and they wouldn't look like footballers whatsoever. Beautiful stuff. Thank you for appreciating the mime act. I don't know how well it syncs up, but yes, Machado. Crodmo's here to correct pronunciation. No, I genuinely appreciate it. I'm only winding you up because I know who you are. Yeah, so this is Alvanen. He can play at fullback. He's a centre back. He's slow. He can't tackle. He doesn't go in for the tackle. He can jump, but he can't head, and he's not brave. But he can mark. So that's something, right? My honest feeling is that Alvanen is a player I don't want to be starting if we can avoid it. And here is a man with no face. And Daniel Enquist looks like our left back, our only left back from the looks of things. He's okay physically and not particularly good at anything else. 22 years old, very one-footed. So yeah, that's basically all our fullbacks there. We might be looking to dip into the youth teams quite quickly. So Alvanen suddenly looks like he might be a starter, which is something indeed. And yeah, as Valis has pointed out, he's also on a pretty healthy wage there at 600 per week. That's what, 10%, 15. So he's earning about 7% of our total wage bill there, which is quite significant. Right, Mikel Foncel is up next. So let's have a look here. So, Blues Till I Die, my word, TCS, lovely to see you, sire. Title is false advertising, not a surprise anymore. Shake my head. Do you expect me to know how to change titles and stuff? That's complex stuff. So Sparky, lovely to see you this evening, by the way. I have a general rule regarding player faces. I can't sign anyone who looks like they'd be in Rolf Harris's first 11. Oof. What in your opinion? I'm kind of hesitant to ask. I know this is a bad decision to ask, but what makes someone look like they'd be in a Rolf Harris first 11? Right, so this young lad is 20 years old. He can tackle. He works hard. He can pass. He's definitely more of a midfielder than a centre back. He is injury prone. And I am just getting a notification that we've got ads starting shortly. So, chance for a little bit of admin here. That is, you guys over on YouTube especially, you probably won't know, and there's loads of you in here on Twitch tonight. It's amazing. I absolutely love this. Who probably haven't been into these streams before. When the ad breaks come on Twitch, I take a break. I need to stand up. I need to stretch my legs. I need to refill on lozenges. So we're going to cut. I'm going to pause for 3 minutes as the ad break happens. When we come back, we'll do a little quiz, and then we'll carry on with the save. So once I get the notification properly that the ads have started, we'll just take a couple of moments away. And you know, in that kind of like boring old dad way, I'll be inclined to say, "Hey guys, why don't you start getting up and walk around and you know, stretch your legs and get a drink and go to the toilet and do all those lovely little bits like it's an ad break when it was on TV." So yeah, cool. I'm going to pop over onto the break now and see you shortly. Okay, and we're back, and I have remembered to unmute the mic. Brilliant. Marvellous. So, for those who were along yesterday, you will be familiar with what we're doing here. We are stealing shamelessly from the British daytime game show Only Connect. We're going to do a series of picture clues. I'm going to show you 4 players that are each connected to each other in a very, very specific way. And we show you those clues one at a time. As you go through them, you'll start to identify what those connections might be and have guesses. And the earlier you guess, the more points you get. So the connection might be that all players have played together with one other common player, or they might have worked under the same manager, or they might have all played for the same club. There might be something a little bit more abstract too. So we did this yesterday, and the clues were: we started with Steve Staunton, we moved on to John Daddy Budvarson, then Daniel Cousin, and we finished with Hyung-Min Sun. And the link between them was that they all contain family member names within them. So the word aunt is in Steve Staunton, the word daddy is in John Daddy Budvarson, Daniel Cousin is your cousin, and son is son. Nice. So that was quite a tricky one for a first day. We'll be a little bit kinder this time. So what we'll do is I'm going to swing this across here. The pictures won't tell you who they are. So work together, shout out in chat once you know who it is, start throwing out ideas of what the connection could possibly be. So we've got Hank the Tank has come through immediately, pointing out that it is Thiago Motta. And well done, Crudmo and Ryan and Root. Good shout out there as well. I just want to make sure that we've connected over. So I do think this might be a little bit unfair on the guys over in YouTube, because I think the stream is just a couple of seconds behind. So yeah, if we can try and work out what we've got for connections there. So we've got Inter Milan mentioned as a connection. It is not Inter Milan, but that is a good shout. He did indeed play them. Brazilians who took Italian nationality. An interesting shout. It isn't Brazilians who took Italian nationality, but that is a very, very, very good idea. PSG managers could potentially be. So is it car related? They all have automobile service testing related names. MOT for Thiago Motta. I love the thought. It's not that, unfortunately, but that is a brilliant suggestion. Managed teams with famous food named after them. So Ryan going for the Bologna there, which is great. Andras over on YouTube has suggested it played with Ibrahimovic. That's a great shout as well. It isn't played with Ibrahimovic, but I like the thinking. We'll move on to the next clue. That might start helping you with that. And so let's see where we've got there. Will the next one be a Bailey? It won't be a Bailey, but I see what you're going for. Mott and Bailey. Crudmo, he managed the youth team. That's, yeah, I got you. So FM Got No Game has said played for countries they weren't born in. And so we've got Dumfries in here. And if it was played for countries they weren't born in, what country was... Oh, played for countries they weren't born in. That's close. That's close. I don't think that's correct. I will have to check, but you are along the right lines there. I'm going to be really annoying and come with technicalities on here. So Andrus has, correctly called that it's Dumfries, as has JJ Avalon. JJ Avalon's mentioned that played for Suriname, which is close. You are right that Dumfries might have played for another country, because Hank the Tank has got it exactly right there, and it is played for multiple national teams. So Dumfries was born in the Netherlands, as you've rightly pointed out. I just had missed out, as I initially read it, I misread what you'd said, G&G, and I thought that it was what Hank said, which is played for multiple national teams. So it is that they have played for multiple senior international teams. Thiago Motta has played for Brazil and Italy, correctly identified by Crodmo. And it is Crodmo who's come through and correctly identified that Denzel Dumfries played for Aruba before he played for Netherlands. 2 caps in 2014. So we might as well show the other clues. For 2 points. Well, firstly, Hank the Tank, you've got 3 points. I don't know what 3 points gets you. There isn't anything in the beyond that, but 3 points are yours. Well done, sire. So we have Wilf Zahar next. Do we know who he's played for? Was Tim Cahill in this? We'll find out in a moment, but he hasn't. Oh, Crodmo used Wikipedia. That's boring. Wilf Zahar has indeed played for Ivory Coast and England. JJ Avalon, you mentioned Dutch Antilles. That was close. Yeah, I mean, like, there's a pretty good shout there, but it was Aruba, in fact. And then we've got Wilf here. It's Ivory Coast and England. And then we finish with perhaps one of the more iconic modern examples. Obviously, we could have gone for Alfredo Di Stefano. We could have gone for Ferenc Puskás. But we didn't. We've gone for the wonderful Diego Costa, and I'm sure this should be reasonably easy for people to guess who he played for. Ryan in there straight away. It is indeed Spain and Brazil. So there we go. Switched allegiances. One day I'll have a cat named Ferenc Puskás. You pet his hair for 10 points. Yeah, I'll put that out as a reward there. JJ Avalon coming in there. Beautiful indeed. That was only Connect. Let's get back to the squad assessment now, shall we? Zeep, good evening, sir. How are you? Declan Traitorous Rice could have worked. He could have worked indeed. So originally, Declan Rice was going to be my 1 point answer, but I then realised I'd already done Wilf, and 2 England players felt a little bit. Two players who have played for England. Obviously, Zahar is now an Ivory Coast player. Just felt a little bit too England centric. Do we have another one? I want an obscure one. So we have another quiz that will happen after the next break. We'll do that. So in probably about 50 minutes to an hour or so. It's a slightly different quiz, but we will have a unique one for each stream going forwards. So that's the plan, and hopefully looking to build up. I've got a couple of other game show ideas that I want to plagiarise unashamedly. So sorry, let's catch up there. Grealish too, indeed. He didn't play for the senior team. Oh, someone's already got there. Don't mention the war, calling out England for colonialism. It's getting a little heated over on Twitch. Let's see what you guys are doing over on YouTube instead. Let's not talk about war. And let's I'm going back here. So I saw sorry, let me just quickly run back a bit. I did see Timper, you mentioned Pateri for sale. Let's have a look at. He is a free agent, so that's someone we can look at. And I will mention with this skin as well, the skin will estimate the higher range. So when you see a range on a player, and that range is like 7 to 17 because they're not scouted, in the example that you have here, it will assume that they're at the highest end of the range until you've scouted them. So Pateri for sale here looks absolutely incredible. He is not going to be that good. But no, he is no longer at the club. So let's have a look here. Michael Foncel we were looking at just before things went away. He's another left-footed player. He's more of a midfielder than a defender. He can't jump. He's too slow. He's got no strength or balance. He can't turn. But he can pass and he can tackle. And I have a feeling that might be enough to get him in his starting place in the squad. Other players we've got here. Hussein Usman Suleiman. Is that Ghana? It is Ghana indeed. So, again, reasonable physical profile. He's got good work rate, got good speed. He likes to hit long shots. That's a little bit exciting. He likes to dive into tackles. That's like you've got to love. It's a bit like a Suleiman Tari. A player who just throws himself out around a bit and just absolutely spanks it from distance. Doesn't look like he's going to spank it from distance in a particularly good way. He's not great in any other respect, but yeah, maybe there's something we can work with there. Emmanuel Chukwuemeka Okereke, a central defender that is very slow. Good work rate, stamina, passing, first touch. So this looks like another midfielder to me. Perhaps a better defensive midfield option than the young lad Fonsel. So El Norby, do you know Clate started a Moneyball save and he's using your skin? He also talked about you in his video. I do indeed know that, El Norby. Yes, he obviously tagged me in it when he released the video. I've watched it. Absolutely fantastic, the first episode. I haven't seen the one that was released today, unfortunately. I was preparing for the stream, so I'll be catching up on that probably tomorrow at some point. But it's a brilliant video, as are all his videos. I mean, like the Melilla save that he did last year, the epic movie that he put together is one of the best videos that's been done. Absolutely incredible stuff. So you're still talking about war. I see. What is it good for up there? Absolutely nothing. Say it again, y'all. Ryan, do I revise my business work or watch the stream with great intent? You revise. I should tell you to stick around in the stream and enjoy the fun time, but yeah, revise, man. Like you won't get the opportunity to do it again. So you know, you maybe don't need to throw all your effort into getting everything revised all at once, but build that up and do your work and make sure that you get as good a education as you bloody well can. See, I've gone into dad mode again. I do apologise. I'm telling you all to stretch your legs, and now I'm telling you to do your homework. Joseph Bishan. There's a good shout as well for people who've switched allegiance. Revise or you'll end up like Musterman. Yes, exactly. This team is very young, says RJ. Yes, it does seem to be. I mean, okay, we've now come on to a 28-year-old, but we've had a lot of players who are like 20 and 22 up until now. It does seem that we lack a bit of experience. Nemo Todo on YouTube says, always preferred Essien. Like, okay, so Essien is one of my favourite players of all time. I absolutely love him. He just did everything. You can't... There isn't a play. Muntari is a different type of player altogether. He wasn't necessarily a good footballer, but he threw himself about and he absolutely hit the ball like a bastard. The only two things he could do, and that's, you got to love him for it. I love Muntari as well, to be fair. And I mean, he did go on to play for Inter, so you can't call him a bad player. Ryan wants me to sign Malacia. Okay, I think that might be a little bit beyond our wage budget for a player who will never play. Which means A-levels are pointless anyway. But, okay, I don't want to be dismissive of A-levels. In the long term, A-levels are pointless a little bit. Unless you don't go on to do a degree. If you don't go on to do a degree, A-levels are super useful. You will be amazed at how many jobs you reach down the line where you think you don't think you need A-levels, but if you don't have your A to C in English or maths, they're going to be sending you on courses to do them again when you're like 25 or 30. Ironically, I have my A-levels and my GCSEs in English and maths, but I've since lost my certificates. I've ended up having to redo my maths, which was the most tedious thing ever. They sit you down and they say, right, okay, we need to do a proficiency check, and then you do it, and you get all the answers right. They go, oh, okay then, and they say, yeah, but we still need you to redo the test. Like, what's the point? So even if it feels pointless, it's worth doing it just to save you pain later down the line. Sparky, I'm a bit of a late bloomer and switched over to the iconic skin recently, and it's reinvented my FM experience. That's great to hear. There's never too late to start. Or worse, you'll end up like Crodmo. Potentially too. Let's stop with chat for a second. Masha Sajala here is our first player who looks like he can actually attack, which is quite good. We've got somebody who's got good movement. He's got good stamina. He's good mixture of determination, leadership, and teamwork. Technique, he can't dribble, he can't finish, so he might be able to run forward. He can't do anything once he gets there, but this looks like a player that we might be able to do something with, which is quite nice. That's why I loved Ander Herrera. Yep, fair. Tyrell Malacia is currently a man with a working body and so should be signed. Are you his agent now, Ryan? So Emmanuel Petit, which is the kaput Emmanuel Petit. Okay, he looks like those other young midfielders that we had before. By the way, Priority 76, where do you get your hats? They're great. Amazon. They're generally whatever is cheapest or on sale, or if I've lost a hat and I really need one the next day, whatever is available to be delivered the next day. I am not a man of fashion. Probably shock you all to hear. I don't really pay much attention to it in terms of going for a style or making things match. I will look for things that are cheap and I'll buy the thing that's cheap. So Emmanuel Petit here, he can pass, he's got decent first touch, he can finish, but his movement isn't particularly good there. But what I'm seeing here is a lot of players that we need to develop, a lot of players that don't necessarily have, they have one or two things they're good at, they need to round themselves out a little bit, but we've got a lot of different directions we can go, which is, pardon me, quite cool. So, is there... Right, sorry, I'm just catching up there. Is there a player that you really liked that wasn't too well known? It depends, because it depends largely on what you say wasn't too well known. I was raised in St Albans in Hertfordshire, and that means that the most famous player that played for St Albans FC, arguably, was Craig McHale-Smith, the former Peterborough striker who eventually played in the Premier League with Hull. He was a full-blown Scottish international, but he wasn't a good player. He's one of those players that you might remember if someone mentions him, but not particularly well. No one would consider him a Premier League player. He might have played in the Premier League, but he wasn't necessarily Premier League quality. But obviously he's a local lad. So even though he isn't necessarily a good player, he's someone I have a fondness for. Johnny Trotter points out that Ajala is on the big bucks. He is indeed, a whopping £725 per week. But at 28 years old, it makes sense that he is arguably our best player so far. We haven't got to Sebastian Dahlstrom, though, who is our key player, apparently. So I am both his agent and worshipper. What's your strategy in Moneyball in FM24? Right, let me pop this here. So that kind of goes a little bit over a number of the ways that we approach the data-led side, what we're looking for in terms of positions. Essentially, we're going to be looking, when we get to transfer windows, which are open, which won't be many streams into the future now, we will be looking at performance data, largely based around these pizza charts and maybe some other metrics, so that we can find players who perform well and are undervalued. And that is as simple as that. We're looking for players who are undervalued by the market, that we can bring in for cheap, who will be affordable in terms of wages, and we can potentially get to increase in value and guide us to glory. It's really as simple as that. It sounds very wishy-washy, but it really is that. We are going to be looking at specialist players that might only be good at one or two things, but they do them really well, and that's what we need from them in the setup. Anyway, let's move on to Leo Anderson here. He has taken one throw in all game, and that's okay. So Malacia is not having a good time of things, it sounds like. A left-footed player here, like Malacia, we've got Leo Anderson. He has good technique. He's determined. We have someone who's excellent at something. That's something nice to see. 19 years old. He does look a long way away from anything particularly useful. So we might need to just keep an eye on how he develops, but I don't really want him near the first team. Are you really from St Albans? From my experience, the locals pronounce it Snalbans. I mean, okay, Crudmo's got in there. I would say I wouldn't have even called it Snorbans. It's Snorbans. No L whatsoever. But I am indeed. I'm from a council estate in Snorbans, which is even more confusing because St Albans, for those who don't know, is the most expensive city in the UK outside of London to live in, or at least it used to be. And being from a council estate, for those that aren't English, that means you're living in social housing. You're one of the poor boys in this exceptionally opulent city, which has always been fun. And that's why I don't pronounce it Snorbans. Miguel de Souza, he did play for St Albans. I'd still say that Craig McHale-Smith was a better player not for St Albans. Well, maybe not. Okay, well, we can debate on that. Anyway, Sebastian Dahlstrom, I keep on getting distracted. Dahlstrom looks good. He's got a lot of nice stuff in terms of position. He can't cross. You don't need that from a central midfielder. He's got good technique. He's got a good feeling of a deep line playmaker to me in this respect. Not the main ball winner in the midfield. He's not that good at defending, but someone that doesn't need to get forwards too much. Someone who can create and dictate things from some of those more deeper positions in the midfield. Does look like we've got something. He's not our most expensive player. He's an international. Two caps for Finland. So we do have a legitimate player here. He's also inconsistent, so maybe I shouldn't get too far ahead of things there. I used to enjoy managing Peterborough on LMA with CMS, Aaron McLean and George Boyd. That team around that time was absolutely incredible. Woody, thank you very much for the follow. I do apologise, it took me a couple of moments to spot that there. How are you this evening? Oskari Salonen. He's a player who can play lots of positions. He's got good technique again, good movement, good in terms of an endurance. Not really good at the things that matter. So he can't dribble, he can't cross, he can't finish, he can't tackle, he can't mark, he doesn't make good decisions. Yeah, we'll have a look. I think this is another one of these players that we need to mould quite strongly. Guys, off topic, but Crew is playing a player career on FIFA 11 right now. Player career? Was that one of those where you play as a single player in the team? Right, okay. You can tell that I'm not a man for games that involve reaction speeds. Long time since I played FIFA or PES properly. But Crew is amazing. Gotta love Crew. In fact, I know this is a long time ago that you said it, but let me just double check this here. So it is the Crew. Let's pop a shout out there for the Crew. He is absolutely incredible creator. His supercuts are amazing. Robin Sid the Sloth. There we go. I like this guy. I like this guy indeed. Mert, I'm afraid that the commands only work over on Twitch, I'm afraid there. Bill Benjamin, thank you so much for the follow and the subscribe with Prime. You absolute gentleman. Really appreciate it. How are you this evening? And also, Bunk1233, thank you very much for the follow. So yeah, as I was saying, Mert, the commands will only work on Twitch, I'm afraid. But there are links to the videos over on YouTube there. So if you just click on my profile, you'll be able to see any of the Moneyball clinics, which should be useful, I hope. Let me run down all the way here so I can catch up with some of this chat here. I do apologise. Your work is underrated, my friend. Thank you very much. I'm quite happy. I like being out of the spotlight, so I don't want to say long may it continue. I'd love to get super rich out of doing this, but I wouldn't mind just being able to to make a living. That would do me fine. But in a way that I can stay under the radar at the same time. I haven't really thought this through. So Robin Sid here, I really like the look of this guy. He's got some decent pace. He's got stamina. He's not a tall player. He's not going to be physically imposing, but he doesn't need to be. He's good at all those possession things. He's good at a lot of the attacking final third. Now, this guy does look like a playmaker to me. He can play off the wing, so maybe an inverted winger, maybe wide playmaker or an advanced playmaker. I like Robin Sid. Adam Larson. I know that name. Not because of his playing career, though. Adam Larson finished third top scorer in the league in real life, so he might be quite a good player. So what we've got going on here, he's got decent pace, decent off the ball, decent finishing, decent dribbling. I can see why they describe him as a poacher. He can't hold the ball up at all, no strength or balance. But with good work rate, determination and teamwork, I think he could also be a pressing forward, which would be quite nice. Quite happy to have him as an inside forward, maybe an advanced forward, maybe a pressing forward. So looks like a player that we could do something with, and might actually mean we've got a striker, which is cool. So Robin Sid feels like he needs a goal song. He does, doesn't he? He does. Looks kind of difficult to handle both chats. It is certainly a little bit challenging, I'm not going to lie, but then I've not been particularly good at managing chats when it was just Twitch, let alone doing two at the same time. So at least I'm consistent in that regard. A bit mean of him to take Sid's things off him. Oh, so you have some striker in Larson. Yeah, I think it seems a bit weird that they didn't consider him to be a striker to begin with. So my mind immediately went to the Swedish hockey defender instead of the footballer, admittedly. Who is the Swedish hockey defender? Is it completely the same name or just similar? I can't say. Adam Larson. Yeah, it means nothing to me. I'm sorry. It's the one American sport. Actually, it's not the only American sport I don't get. Controversially for someone that loves Moneyball. Never really been much of a fan of watching baseball. Anyway, on to Jayden Reed. So Jayden Reed, I believe, is a former Birmingham lad. He is indeed. Which means, he actually was in United's youth academy to begin with. But made his debut with Birmingham. Spent some time down in League Two. Didn't make any appearances for Portsmouth. But he looks okay. Again, we've got reasonable physicals. He can dribble, he can pass. It looks like this is a team that's got some good forward options. We're a bit lacking in midfield. There's some questions about our defence, but we should be able to score some goals, which is exciting. Here we've got Mohamed Olawale. Again, another player, reasonably decent. He's quick. He's got stamina. Doesn't necessarily have the work rate, but otherwise okay. He's got good agility, so he can twist in and out. Good dribbling, glued off the ball, good technique. Can't cross or shoot, so looks to be a very, very typical modern winger. Definitely something we can work with there. Inconsistent though, so something to be mindful of. Right, I knew Henrik Larsson. Okay. Got traded to the Oilers. Started his career as the Devils, traded to the Oilers. Yeah, I'm afraid it's all Greek to me. So you're doing exceptional handling both the chats. Like, boss, keep going at your own pace. The chat's not going anywhere. It might not be, but my ability to stay sane might be. No, I say, for those that have watched my streams before and seemingly questionable on their own sanity, they keep coming back. This is what it's like, even with only 20 people in. I'm not the greatest at multitasking. I'm a man. We don't multitask. That's the thing. This is Arvid Lundberg. He's a target forward, 6'3". He can jump. He can run, but not immediately. He takes a little bit of warming up, and he can do it for a bit of time. But he can't do it consistently, and he gets injured. But he is only 17 years old. Yeah, this is the definition of a development player from the looks of things. And then we have everybody's favourite. It's Willie. Right, so damn, Jonah Hill and Brad Pitt would be disappointed. They would indeed. They would indeed. Do you reckon? Okay, asking Dill there. That's fine. 400%. Why? And Dill coming in with the little Willie. Little Willie won't go home. Absolutely. He actually, like, for a 16-year-old, he looks quite possibly something we can do something with. He has that weird combination of not being able to jump at all, but being quite good at heading. He makes good decisions, which is great for a player at that age. He's got decent acceleration and pace and agility. He can finish. He's got good movement, got good technique, flair. Like, he's not the greatest player in the world. He's probably not a starter for us, but there's a lot to suggest that we could build around him there, which is brilliant. Yeah, Willie is actually not too bad at all. A lot more in depth, a lot better with gameplay. All right, yeah, we're dealing with the conversation you guys are having there. Willie is only 9 stone 10, needs to build up his girth. He does indeed, Johnny. He does indeed. 70 inches long, fair play. Look, 70 inches, I hate to break it to you guys, but 70 inches is unnecessary. I've spent a lot of my life convincing people that actually you only probably need about 4. I'm just going to keep drinking after I say that. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That was unnecessary. But I think we've got a pretty good idea of the squad there. We've got a lot of attacking talent that we probably want to work in. Sid, Larson, Reed in particular look to be the key players in our front three. Dahlstrom looks like he can be a player that can hold everything, can kind of bridge that bit between defence and midfield. Between Batut, Okereke, Suleiman and Fonsel, we're not necessarily the greatest in a defensive midfield capacity. Ajala can't really do the defensive stuff either. So we have some concerns in who's going to help us defensively in midfield. And we have some concerns with defence. It looks like Machado and Wright and Urabi are centre-backs. Nissanen is a defensive right-back. And probably Alvanen as a left-back. So there's some pretty decent options there. But absolutely zero depth. Enquist look was rubbish. So I think that's pointing to maybe doing something a little bit crazy. And so let's go here. And no, I don't want to load a tactic. We'll just pop a 4-4-2 down just so that we can do some examples. We've got some players that look like they are set starters. Machado, Buchanan, Alvanen. Got that there. Then in midfield, we pop Dahlstrom as a player we want to consider. We've got Reed, we've got Sid, we've got Larson. So Sid looked to me like a player that wants to cut inside from a wide position and be creative in some sort of way. Reed looked like a player that would want to be more attacking the box. And Larson is some kind of pressing forward, which kind of brings us here. We don't really have someone for that role here. Not necessarily sure who we want in terms of Olawale potentially as another option. Sorry, Larson should be there. So we could go 4-2-3-1, maybe move Sid in centrally and put Olawale in. So do something like that, and Olawale could also potentially want to attack in some way. And we've got Dahlstrom as a player who bridges the gap, which seems fine. That's a lot of attacking onus on the players that are quite creative, and that's good. We've got a nice solid defence. These guys both looked potentially like inverted fullbacks where we play some kind of like 4-1-5 in possession, which isn't really a thing, but maybe there's something we can do there in that respect. And I'm wondering whether, with that 4-1-5, if we've got 4 players that are staying back in transition, we've got a much wider rest defence than normal, and we're anyway going to be conceding territory in this area, that we consider Dahlstrom as some kind of playmakery type role, and we actually go all out in terms of attacking this space here, and we go for some kind of crazy 4-1-5 with Willie Núñez in the team in some respect as well. Which probably is a bad idea, but might be the best use of the players we have available. Right, let me catch up with chat a little bit now there. Hi, my bearded friend. You've made me play Football Manager with spreadsheets. I hate you and love you for that. I apologise. I apologise wholeheartedly for that. In your old weight classes, he'd be an anaconda. Oh, I do not like us talking about snakes and willies. Which save idea did you go for? So we're in Finlandese off tackles. It was 47% of the 344 votes cast went for Finland, and so here we are with IFK Mariehamn in the Åland Islands. So it's an archipelago, an autonomous region of Finland. They speak Swedish. They probably want to be Swedish, but they will never be allowed to gain full independence because they're a military post of some significant strategic importance. Well, that might be a slightly cynical take on the situation, at least. Honestly, I'm surprised half the videos didn't leave after that joke. Me too. They should have done. I can't stop reading Emmanuel Petit instead of Emmanuel Petu. 100%. He will be referred to as Petit all the way through this. Well, certainly for as long as he's with us, anyway. Right, Musterman, in your skin, why do you opt for the stat of tackles as opposed to interceptions? Because it's a better analogue for the metrics that have been chosen by Smarter Scout as being the important ones for profile. So the pizza charts are based on the pizza charts created by Smarter Scout. You have ball recoveries, which would have been interceptions generally were in the same region as ball recoveries. And I decided that possession 1 was a better analogue for that than interceptions, whilst for ground duels, tackles was a more appropriate analogue for that. So that's why those are the chosen metrics for those ones. Built like Slenderman, 6'3" and 63 kilos. That's an NBA point guard, indeed. Unless we're talking like Bugsy Moog. Bugsy Moog. You're getting overrun in the midfield. We would do, but this isn't going to be a level where we're particularly good. So I think that if we just try and play really direct, we're going to hit hard, we're going to hit high, we're going to accept that we have no strength here. I think we could do something around this. We'll need to work out the finer details, but I think we could do something with this. Ryan reckons he can cook in the NBA. I feel like that's a bold claim. Gonna get bullied in the post though. Yeah. Musterman, in your skin, why haven't you attached a file of all your best selfies? There is no such thing as a good Musterman selfie. So technically my skin does have all of my best selfies. I am rabid for Willie. This has gone somewhere, that's for sure. Damn, Bugsy Moog, Minute Bowl photo is iconic. It is indeed. Evening, Finn fans. It's a llama. How are you, sire? Your timing is quite remarkable, because I think this is the first point of the evening so far that I've actually caught up with chat. So it's appropriate to give a shout out because I'm actually doing it after he's arrived in. How are you this evening, Mr. Llama? Hope you're doing well. I wasn't expecting a Muggsy Bogues reference in the Åland Islands. No one expects a Muggsy Bogues reference in the Åland Islands. Let's be fair about that. JHK, I keep so sorry for getting your name wrong, JHK. In relation to the comment about tackles, I did some fast scatter plots to see what stats correlated with goal difference. Only possession won, possession lost showed any significance. Like, I agree with you completely. I'm a huge advocate for possession won and possession lost being arguably the most important metrics there are in the game. You can, if you go through at the end of the season and filter down by the lowest possession loss you possibly can of players that have played, say, over 1,000, 1,200 minutes or so, you will notice that all the big players start coming through there. Your Mbappes, your Kanes, your best strikers are the ones that don't lose the ball. Your best midfielders are the ones that don't lose the ball. Your best defenders are the ones that don't lose the ball. And there's a marked difference. And it's a really, really good way of keying in on some of those undervalued gems. Because if you find a player that's really good in ball safety, and they're not someone you've heard of, there's a chance that they're actually going to be pretty mint. Don't be so negative. You have a beard to make Jack Sparrow jealous. Thank you very much, sir. Whilst Ryan has ball handling skills. Where are we going with this, Ryan? Where are we going? G. Saden, thank you very much for the follow. How are you this evening? And I do apologise, it's Josh. I missed you following earlier, so thank you as well. I do apologise. My timing coincides with Bake Off starting, hence I've come upstairs. That makes sense. That makes fine sense indeed. So, Malasia off, stream off. Fair enough. What we've got going on here is certainly an idea. I think it's going to be quite risky, for sure. But I'm not sure. Follow me here, and you can all tell me that I'm completely wrong for doing this. But I think that we just start with no instructions. Just leave it as a very, very cavalier 4-1-5 formation. As a lie. That is a lie. You know that I always counter press. And we always have one line of compactness more than the default. So higher with a mid block, or lower with standard, or much higher with a high press. So we'll go into the middle of those three options. And I'm thinking we start with that, and we're going to work our way through pre-season and tweak as we go. See if we can get the best out of the players that we've got available. We seem to have a decent amount of pace out in these wide areas. We have someone like Sid, who I think that we might get to roam from position and take more risks. He seems like he's a little bit more creative. And then we've got players up front who can really pay attention. Now, there is one concern, which is that this is very meta in terms of roles up front. Double inside forwards, pressing forward, advance forward, little bit more, little bit too closely aligned to what we know overloads the game engine. So whilst I think these are the roles that make sense for these players, I do want to kind of tweak them a little bit so it's not a situation where we're just overloading the game in a way that it can't particularly handle. So let's see what people are saying here. I hate the fact that the pie charts on FM favour eccentricity. I would take a keeper with 5 eccentricity over 15 any day. Okay, that's fair. I think it can very much depend on what type of keeper you want, but a little bit of craziness. Like the best goalkeepers are a little bit unhinged, I think might be a way of saying it. So yeah. JKHK, exactly. They have the most extreme values compared to the other stats. Look at Rodri, Van Dijk. Exactly. Best players, amazing when it comes to ball retention. VFF Football, hello. I just found your wonderful skin like a week ago, and I started to wonder where it's been all my life. Just one question is there any way to see the facility levels in numbers? The technical answer there is yes. I would suggest heading over to the SI forums. There's a specific subform there for skinning, and there's a thread called Random and Small Skinning Questions. They should be able to help guide you through the process. If you pop a question in there, you can technically do it. It's not something I plan on doing. A whole element of what this skin is about is to add levels of vagueness to the way that you play, and so drilling down and making facilities into a specific hard number kind of goes against what we're doing. So it won't be something I'll look to add as a part of a release, I'm afraid. So if you want to play, you either have to play stupidly direct or have a wingback inverting, in my opinion. So ease off tackles, I agree 100%. What I would want is a wingback inverting. Neither of these players can pass. We have like 3 fullbacks, they're all rubbish. Niskanen is like okay in terms of the defense stuff, rubbish in possession. And then we have Alvanen, who is even worse in possession. So our hand is kind of forced in that regard. Now, Machado can pass, which is something. He can't move, so I don't really want him as a libero. I don't think a libero in Finland is probably a wise idea. So what we're thinking is our best players are attackers. We don't have any kind of fullbacks who can step forward into midfield or provide any support in attack. So if we're going to have 4 players in our first line, let's just bypass the midfield entirely. We can use marking instructions as we go to try and shore things up a little bit more defensively. We might end up even dropping these guys back here, so we end up with a wide 4-2-4 diamond, so that we have something a little bit more solid. But we'll play it by ear as we go. As long as we score one more than the opponent type of tactic, exactly. No instructions can be good as a learning tool. So one thing I'll get to with Rich is if you don't have, you might come into a save with a very, very specific idea of what you want to achieve tactically, which is brilliant and awesome. And then you can certainly start with a number of instructions already chosen, a number of things you definitely want to do. But I would always advocate for starting as simple as you possibly can and using friendlies to actually observe what's going on and make those little tweaks until you get close to where you want. So because we don't have a style that we're particularly wed to, let's start basically as blank as possible and let's see where that takes us. A Fabian Hertzler formation. That's a fair shout. Good evening, FM console. How are you, sire? Let me do one of these as well. I do apologise, my good man. I did see that you were streaming last night as I finished. I needed to go straight to bed, so I didn't drop by. How are you doing this evening, and how did the stream go last night? So JHK, this is of course not news, but on a team level, Opta, opposition passes per defensive action, for those that don't know, was the other thing that correlated. Indeed. Just yes. So how are we doing this evening? We are certainly still in the throes of fever a little bit, but we're getting by with the help of non-brand eucalyptus goo and unbranded lozenges, and that's getting us through. And we're starting a new save, so I'm happy and excited. Be interesting to see one of the centre backs as defensive libero. Yeah, I see. As I know I'm behind with the chat, so I do apologise. I don't think we quite have the quality there. Would a Volante not be better instead of a deep-lying playmaker? Not with what we've got with Dahlstrom. Dahlstrom is arguably our best player in the team, but he's not particularly good with movement. He's not very good at doing the things in the box. So I want someone there who's basically going to be there to make use of his vision, make use of his flair and technique, and just to distribute. We probably won't have him as a deep-lying playmaker going on. I'm more talking about the functions that are going there. Aren't facilities measured in chinchillas? Facilities should be measured in chinchillas. Right, Alex Menegaso, good evening. How are you? Thank you very much for the follow. I've just seen that there. Hey man, when do you do scouting? Do you use filters in FM or external resources? So I just use... So when I do scouting, I do very little scouting. With the game, I have removed player search entirely, so I will have a list of the scouted players there. And generally speaking, for the level of team that I'm at, there's not usually a massive pool of players. So right now we've only just started, so there's not many at all. But even when we're 2-3 years down, this list might be around 300, 400 players tops. And then when you filter out players that don't want to join you, and then when you filter out players that are going to be too expensive for you to sign or too high a wage for you to sign, generally speaking, per position, there's not that many. Maybe you'll find yourselves with about 40 or 50 viable players in there. And so I don't even tend to use filters. I'll just go through them one by one and look, which I appreciate isn't the answer you were looking for. Change it back to inside forwards, Mustermann. I need to see the ultra narrow Brexit formation. So yeah, as I said, you should know by now, I'm a little bit adverse to the meta. So we'll look for a way of balancing what I think will work right with the players that we've got, and the reasonable needs of not exploiting the inefficiencies in the game. What happened to your Pauk Zaragoza save on YouTube? Used to be the highlight of my week watching them. So we popped that on hiatus. He's off tackles. Sorry, I need to... the throat's going a little bit, so I need to make sure that I keep myself topped up there. I put that on hiatus because I like the idea that our promotion up to La Liga would be a great thing to start off with in FM25, because the save was getting a little bit too easy. The tactic that we have is quite effective, and we hadn't really come up against any challenge. So I really like the idea that we go into a new game in a new engine and everything's daunting and new again, and that step up from La Liga DOS to La Liga would then feel so much bigger, and it'll be much more of a challenge. And so the plan is that once FM25 comes out, albeit 4 months away now, that we'll be coming back to Zaragoza, and that will be just a YouTube save only. So that's essentially the plan with that there. I'm absolutely knackered, says Console. Went way too late and then spent 9 hours straight not eating, auditing purchasing systems. Oh dear. Still, first proper stream demonstrating how to remove a hand rake in an FM tactic to get close to winning the Prem with Brighton. Awesome. That is, I say, I think I saw somebody said that they were in there. Rich was in there. Well, that's so good. Is there a plan for when you're next going to be streaming, so I can make sure I drop by? So Pastor Dahlstrom, and he tries to find one of the 5 in front. Exactly. That is almost exactly the plan that we're considering. Andrus over on YouTube. What's better than protein oats in a Mustermann stream? I don't know what is better than protein oats in a Mustermann stream. I might be a little bit biased here, but I would say that just the protein oats on their own might be better. Right. Sorry, I was catching Ryan. Going to go walk the dog now, mate. If you're still streaming when I'm back, I'll see you again. If not, have a good night, and a good night to you, sire. And no, we won't be signing till Malaysia. Are you doing a Finnish save now? Can we perhaps share our favourite Finnish songs? If anyone has one, of course. We can absolutely share our favourite Finnish songs. I'm assuming, Interpol, that you have a favourite Finnish song? Okay, good. We'll be counting down days. What Premier League flop do you fancy signing next to lead your line? I think we could possibly get Keenan Davis into Finland, to be fair. Well, maybe. He's not finished. He's 28. But oh, that is a classic radio calling. Probably McDonald's in a Mustermann stream. Yeah, okay. Now, I know this isn't a healthy thing to promote, but we were at the FM show pod last week in Nottingham, and I currently live in a relatively remote village. I've got 4 buses come here a day. None of them run after 2 p.m. in the afternoon. There's, as far as takeaways go, we've got a Domino's and we've got like 3 Indians. So being in a proper city, being able to get a McDonald's wasn't the highlight of the evening. but it was pretty high up there. Meeting all the wonderful people was obviously the highlight, but my word, I haven't felt quite so good having a McDonald's. It was glorious, glorious stuff. So, right, just to give you not when I say a warning, Ryan, but be mindful of your language because it was going to keep on filtering it out. I've let them through. I'm not like offended or anything by them, but obviously with streams like tonight where I have struggled to keep up with chat a bit, there's a good chance that they'll just get filtered out and lost forever in other situations. So, console, I never make plans. If I planned better, I'd have had time to do much needed YouTube videos. That's fair. That is fair indeed. You haven't seen how I drink. I go hard and go home early. That's the way it should be. If you have the self-control to go home early, that's the perfect way to do things. I used to live in a town that's only decent takeaway was Pizza Hut. Absolutely tragic. Decent in quotation marks. Yeah, that's fair. I find UK McDonald's to be better than most of Europe's, Sandras. That's a worrying sign. Like, I loved that McDonald's that I had. It felt so good, but the beauty of McDonald's is that it's not quite nice enough to make you want it the next day. So it saves you from getting properly addicted, thank God. Right, we have another ad break coming up. So once again, I'm going to remind you all to stretch your legs, empty your bladders, and in my case, even though I've got a bad throat, make your throat worse. We'll be back in roughly 3 to 4 minutes, and then we'll have another quiz to do. So I'll see you shortly. Right, welcome back. So let's head on to the next quiz. And I do hope that FM Llama is still about, because I feel like this is a very FM Llama kind of thing to be doing. It's a guess the player, and it is based, I'm going to be completely and utterly open and honest with you on what I was doing over on TikTok. But I feel like it's a little bit more better here where we can do it together and interactive. It's another picture-based quiz. I will show you 5 snapshots of a single player's profile. Each snapshot will give slightly more information. So we'll start with what positions they play in. We'll see their attribute polygon. We'll see their scout report. We'll see their attributes and traits, and then we'll see their career history. Each will be of the same player, and so you'll be able to eventually build a picture of who that player is. And the idea is that, once again, the earlier you get correctly, the more points you get. So points are the only prizes in this, so unfortunately there is nothing there, but we have talked about the opportunity to pet my hair if you get 10 points in total over a certain period of time. So shall we start? And here we go. We have a player whose best position is right winger, a 3-star winger, 2-star in many of the other roles after that, as an inside forward, an inverted winger, an advanced playmaker, or a trequartista. So if you want to throw your guesses out there, we've got coming in Anthony, Nicholas Pepe, Leon Bailey. Good guesses coming in there. Stuart Ripley, says FM Llama. What a callback there. And Brett Higgins is over in YouTube. Good evening, sire. How are you? Stuart Ripley is definitely my favourite guest so far. I am afraid to say none of you are right quite yet there. But he is left-footed, and as you guys have identified, we have Jason Wilcox being suggested. That's a good guess. Good guess. If I should probably clarify at this point that this is a player currently playing, and this is their profile in FM24. So Bakayoko has been mentioned, Johan Bakayoko by Nicola over on YouTube, Noni Madueke, Chris Waddle, Federico Chiesa, Noah Darvich, Bukayo Saka. They're all good guesses, but they're not quite right. Let's go on to the next clue, see if that helps. So we have a player here, probably a lot like a number of the players that we've mentioned so far there. He's amazing in terms of his speed, really good technically as well. Not got much of a physical profile. Can't defend, isn't good in the air, not the greatest mentally. Kind of average when it comes to attacking and vision, which is a surprise that he was considered to be an advanced playmaker or trequartista. So the options we've got coming in, we've got Nicholas Pepe, guessed by Shaquan. Good evening, by the way, Shaquan. It's not Nicholas Pepe, I'm afraid. Robin, no, it's not Robin. Chukwueze, it isn't. It also isn't Andy Sinton. I do love the old school guesses. I'm disappointed nobody's gone for Andy Townsend, though. David Neres, now that's an amazing shout. It isn't David Neres, but I love that one. Thiago Almada as well, another great guess from Morton. I can see you're working through the MLS guesses there. Leroy Sane, Foden, Musiala, Dybala, Cole Palmer, Andros Townsend. Somebody said Andros Townsend. It would be you, Crudmo, wouldn't it? Riyad Mahrez, Pedro Neto. These are all good guesses, but they are all, I'm afraid, wrong. But yet that we are a short-arsed, left-footed right winger. That is certainly how it might appear. Chris Kiwomya, says Rego Boy. A good shout. Now this might be the bit that gives it away. They're a leading Ligue 1 player. It isn't Dembele. It also isn't Vladimir Smicha. Reggae Boy over on YouTube coming in with the retro guesses. I absolutely love it. Crudmo's come in with Marco Asensio. Is it Marco Asensio? It is not Marco Asensio. In fact, we have a first-time chatter in over on Twitch, and they've said Edon Zegrova. Is it Edon Zegrova? Most definitely is. Give that man a round of applause. Now, we had a few Zigrovas coming through. IFK46, completely right as well. Liam Williams over in YouTube, great guess. All three of you got it. The points do go to Nixku. Fantastic guess there for 3 points. It was indeed Edon Jagrova, the little left winger who I think, let me just go back a couple. He's 5'11". He's not actually that short, but he plays like he's short. So let's pop back to the stream here now. Absolutely fantastic guessing though. Like Barcola was mentioned in there. I saw Neymar. That's certainly there. We've got Rooney Bargy was mentioned. Bradley Barcola again. Some really good guesses in there. And yeah, those of you who got it, congratulations. Brilliant guesses there. In fact, I've probably gone to the wrong screen here. I should probably pop here. Let's have a look at it. Let's have a little state of play. See whereabouts we got there. When we say we've created a manager backstory, we've stolen a manager backstory. We have opted to take the identity of former champ manager 0304 legend Mika Aratalo, and we're going to live vicariously through him what it must be like to be tall. We've set up the leagues. We haven't set up the detail level, so we need to do that in a moment. But we've chosen based on Finnish diaspora. So we've got our set of rules in place so we can make sure we have a game world that is centered around the experience that we have here. We've assessed the squad, and in terms of identifying guiding principles, our guiding principle at the moment is basically let's play it by ear. Let's see what happens. We've got an idea of how we can get our best players involved. Let's see how they play and what that does in terms of shaping our style, and we can then adjust our DNA around that idea. Brett, thank you so much for popping along. Thank you kindly, and have a wonderful evening. The most important bit is we need to work out which players' names we can use for songs. Now, I think we've identified reasonably early on that Willie Nunez is going to have a song about him. Little Willie is going to be the star of this save. We can tell already. I did see some mentions of classic Finnish tracks earlier. We do have a mention for Lordi's Hard Rock Hallelujah. Darude Sandstorm as well. We could perhaps work with that. I know it doesn't have lyrics, but we can push through that in a way that we can add some to the beat there somehow, I see. FM Console comes through with Ooh Miko to Dex's Midnight Runners, obviously. That is a thought. That is a thought indeed. Is freestyle Bomb Funk MC is Finnish? Interesting. Or is there a name there that you think can fit with the freestyler? Rock the microphone. Straight from the top of my dome. I remember that. Shame I can't sing. And yes, JHK has mentioned freestyler as well. So that I'm guessing with both Timper and JHK mentioning it, that's got to be a Finnish act. Well, I never. Do we have a player whose name ends in ER? Something that we can at least maybe try and work into, or begins with free. We don't have anyone right now. Ajala is just a little bit too far away, so we can't work a player in there obviously at the moment. But yeah, let me clear the selection, in fact, so we can see most of the players on the screen all at one time. Let's see, are there any other players that we can work? I need to see player names to riff on, I think. Yep, so I'm trying to get everyone into the same screen. Actually, a better screen for this will be this one here. Oh, that's interesting. We might not have any reserves to call upon. So this is our team, the whole squad. I have excluded the player who's out on loan because he won't be with us for the first 6 months of the season. If he comes back and he comes in, we can look at that then. So can we show the squad so we can get the names? Just oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Shrew. Yes, indeed. I've been looking at the names for the last like 2 minutes. What on earth do you mean you can't see the names? So this is our team here. See if there's anything that that stands out. Sebastians, good evening. I hope you are well. Please bear with me a moment whilst I translate what you said. It is a Finnish polka. So the Sakijärven polka or the Sakaravi. It's a well-known folk tune from Finland that is popular with accordionists. Accordion is one hell of a tricky instrument, that's for sure. Robin Sid should be easy to put in a song. You would think so, wouldn't you? Like, a lot of the short names, I mean, even like Jaden Reed is someone you think they should be able to do something with. I'd be very keen if we can come up with something for Sebastian Dahlstrom. He looks to be our best player alongside Robin Sid, so I think that's key. We've got Adam Larson potentially, looks like a star. So let's have a look there. Oyala could scan to freestyler. It could. I think that's a little bit contrived. But Oyala. Rock the microphone. We might be able to do something. That definitely feels like something we can do. The easiest one. D to any beat. Yes. Oh, I thought I filtered him out. No, what's going on here? Why is he resting? Who knows? But yes, DDD to any beat will be there. Darude Dahlstrom. I like it. I like it. So if we can, it's a difficult one to convey if we do that musically, but that's an amazing idea. Jaden Reed. We could definitely do that, I think. Matt Gutsy, how do you find your best 11 without the use of data since no data has been recorded yet? Well, that's what do I know what the best 11 is going to be at this moment? I don't know. We play games. We watch the games and we judge. We make opinions based on that. But that's what a large part of this stream has been, as we've been looking through the players. We've got attributes. We've got a rough guide to attributes from the Rangers, so we can have an idea of who we think we can make use of and how we can potentially fit them into a system. So that's what we've got. We've got an idea of what our starting 11 will be for our first friendly. And from that point on, we'll see how players perform and we'll make changes and we'll see what we can do. Chukwamaker to Chukakan, as in Chukakan. Let's see what you're going for there. Where we can certainly work with that. Okereke. Can we do anything with the other part of his name, Okereke? Is there a song? Was there ever a chant for Emmanuel Petit? We have Emmanuel Patut. We've got to be able to do something there. Emmanuel Petit chant. Does look like that. Most of it is just they are chants rather than songs. That's the only thing. But we can certainly work with that. We can try and have some things set up for the next stream. So that's going to probably be a large part of the thrust of what we end up doing in the next couple of days. As whilst we make these, I'll be putting together some songs over the course of the weekend, so we can start enshrining these players into legendary status in the same way that the Super Greek once was. Patrick Reitinen as Ra Reitinen. I love it absolutely, Fabriga. Thank you for the follow, by the way, as well. Ra Reitinen, lover of the Finnish queen. There was a cat that really was gone. Look, I can't sing. I know that. I do apologise that I'm putting you through this. It's even harder to sing when you've got other music in your ear. But that's no excuse. It's going to be bad even without that. Yes, Ra Rasputin, but for Raikkonen. That is perfect. So, Sebastian's, will I be signing some players this transfer window? No, the transfer window has been disabled. If so, you can sign one jovial boy named Johnny Calco, a legend. I'm afraid we can't, but Nick, dude. I can't see. Let's complete one thing at a time. Johnny Calco, a defensive midfielder who is available on a free transfer. He looks like he means business as well. Let's go on. Let's just add him to the shortlist. We won't be able to sign him for 6 months. And there's every chance that he might be picked up by someone else. But, oops, sorry, wrong screen. Back there. We can certainly keep an eye on him. Nick Dude over on YouTube has come through with Akarake Boy to American Boy by Kanye. That's something we can certainly work with. Yes, because that's the one with, was it Estelle who did the vocals on that? Was it Estelle? I've never been one to be with the zeitgeist, so even though that's like 15 years ago, it would have required me to know what was going on 15 years ago to remember the names. Do correct me if I'm wrong. Robin Sid could be James O. Sid. Oops, sorry, a couple of... James, oh, sit down, oh, sit down, oh, sit down next to me. When you sub him off, that is a nice thought. I like the idea of that one. And JHK suggested goal scorer, rock the penalty zone. So there's the freestyler option. Straight to the back of the net to Lawale, rock the penalty zone. Carry on with the striker's tone. I think we've got something there. I think I need to learn how to read better. That's for sure. Yeah, just touched down in London town with Estelle, and Nick Dude has confirmed it's Estelle Dean. Well, hey, that is as good as I get for pop knowledge, and it's 15 minutes out of date. FMFC, by the way, thank you very much for the follow. We've got a lot of good ideas there. I've written a few of them down now as well, so we should have some stuff. It won't be for tomorrow's stream or Thursdays because there's not really any time. I'll be in bed after this, and then I'll be at work, and then I'll be back on here. But some bits that we can do over the weekend and have some new hits to put to it. So what else do we have left that we want to get done for today? So let's pop here. We've put together an initial tactic, and we've decided that we're not actually going to do anything with the tactic yet. We're going to play out the games. We're going to let that decide the flow of the games. We're going to see what needs to be tweaked to fit our players, and we'll let it adapt that way. And so on my basis, I think, I say a little bit tentatively, I think our work is done here for tonight. I don't want to press continue if we can avoid it. Tonight was details level. RG, you legend. Thank you very much. And I asked you guys to remind me about that as well, and you did. You are absolutely incredible. So, we actually almost have it exactly as we want it already here. So we will naturally want all competitive matches in Finland. And we want it in those countries that had the diaspora, which diaspora at above 10,000 Finnish people living in the country, or people of Finnish ancestry. So do I still have that available? I don't. Let me just get that back up. Finnish diaspora. And we'll pop across to the browser. Here we go. So this is the map that we're working on. So the countries that we're focusing on are, well, Finland, obviously, those in dark blue, and those in the mid blue as well. So that's Norway, that's Russia, that's Sweden, that's Russia, that's Norway, that's Germany, that's Spain, that's United Kingdom, that's Australia, it's United States, and Canada. And watch as I forget them immediately. Australia, all competitive matches. Canada, all competitive matches. Denmark, none, that's fine. England, all competitive matches. Finland, France does not need to be. Germany does. Iceland, we'll say yes to Iceland because I'm sure that I just missed them. They feel like they should be, at the least. Italy is a no. Norway is a yes. Russia is a yes. Scotland is a yes. Northern Ireland needs to be a yes. I'm just going to pick back that map. Republic of Ireland is a no. Spain is a yes. Sweden is a yes. Turkey is a no. Wales is a yes. And so that is going to be quite intense, naturally, but we have got the details off on a lot of the countries that we've got loaded. And that means that a lot of our transfer focus is going to be purely on these leagues that we've got on at full detail, specifically when we're recruiting based on performance data. Now, we don't have to sign players on performance data. If we want to take a punt on other players just for the hell of it, we see someone we quite like, why not? So we can do that there. Okay, Mert, does the game speed ever bother you? I have found very, very few issues with game speed difference. As long as I keep full detail under about 15 countries, generally I've not really seen any major impact. Though it might add, 5 seconds every time we press continue, and that might add up over the course of a whole save, but it's still not that significant. The optimization on FM24 has been one of the real big success stories, I thought, for this year's edition. Things have moved a lot quicker, a lot smoother. So I know that SI aren't everyone's hot topic with what's happened with FM25, but props to them for that. So what about Hungary and Estonia? They share the same language ancestry. Some good suggestions there, by the way, UTF. So as I said, we're basing it on Diaspora. It is an arbitrary reason to go with, but it helps to have a reason to help narrow things down. I did mention it earlier, I was quite surprised that Estonia didn't have that many, but when you deal with a raw number, a country like Estonia is relatively small, so to have over 10,000 people of Finnish ancestry there would have been a significant proportion of the population. So they're not going to be on full detail in this particular save, but we have every reason to adapt during the course of the save. If we find that we need to increase the detail levels in some leagues, decrease them in others, then we can. That 30 major leagues full detail save must have been hard on the PC. So yes, the short answer is that a large reason why it took a long time to even be able to release the skin was because I had to run those tests overnight. Generally speaking, we could get them done in about 2 days. So I've got a work laptop, so I don't need to use my PC during the day. So I could run them overnight, then I'd start in the morning, I'd save, I'd turn off the PC, let it calm down and rest a little bit. After an hour or so, I'll boot it all back up. We'll run it again for a little bit and just repeat that over and over again. Yeah, it took a long time. Poor CPU. Yeah, I like the Diaspora angle. Cool, awesome. But yes, so Arju, thank you very much for the suggestion. Not the suggestion, the reminder. And I think that's going to bring to an end the stream for tonight. We're going to be back tomorrow where we actually hit continue. So we've done our admin. I will be delegating responsibilities for a lot of other stuff basically out to the staff. We're going to let them do staff recruitment. We're going to let them do scouting to build up the pool. We're going to let them do training. And so just a little explanation there why. I learnt with the AC Moneyball series that it can be a challenge to have our conversations, and do the playing the game bit at the same time. So the amount of admin that we can remove for the better. So that will be where we start tomorrow. We'll hit continue. We'll move into our first friendly, which will be against our reserves. And it should be fun. So thank you hugely. Let's go and find out who we can raid. And yeah, so actually, let me apologize. Guys on Twitch, bear with me 1 second. We will raid in a moment. What I will do though is I will speak to the guys on YouTube first, because I obviously can't raid out there. I'll just say a massive thank you for coming along tonight. I hope it's been great. I would love you to leave feedback if on the community post you have any feedback that you want to give. Obviously, this has been the first time and it's been a little bit of an experiment. So I am all ears. Pop it there or jump on into the Discord and let us know there. Be absolutely brilliant. And hopefully see you tomorrow. I think that means I can now end the